The Korean MRAs are now using feminist tactics against them successfully. They're actually warring. They're making progress. Of course, we're going to tackle this BBC hit piece on them, which tries to make them look bad, but only ends up making their point for them. But I want all you Westerners, the Western MRAs, to take notes. Now let's hear this.
BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts.
Thanks for listening to this Crossing Continents podcast. I've been living in South Korea for a couple of years now, and I've been staggered by how many women tell me they're not feminists. And I know they think men and women should be equal.
First lie. No woman wants to be equal to men. They don't think that. If women wanted to be equal with men, they would sign up for the draft. Matter of fact, they wouldn't sign up for it. They'd say it's automatic, just like the men. And they'd cut their baby girls the way they do their baby boys. No, there is no equality. Women do not want equality. That's a bold-faced lie from the beginning.
So I wanted to look into what was going on, and I discovered a vicious anti-feminist movement where men try to get feminists fired from their jobs.
Yes, see? And you know why? As I say, where is it? In my important playlist videos, the Whisper Network. The Whisper Network exists and tries to destroy male comics pros, right? This happens. This is what feminists do to men. And so these guys are finally fighting fire with fire. Only these guys, they've got it right because they're fighting against people who want to harm them. These male comic pros didn't do anything to deserve these women harming them, right? So these guys are fighting back.
It's led to violence against women too. This is already a patriarchal society, and these witch hunts are now forcing feminism underground.
Good. They're putting a chilling effect, because that's what feminists do to men. It's about time.
Here's our story.
The KKK has been forced underground. This hate movement deserves to be forced underground.
It's been so long since I checked out this, and it's so bad. It's worse than
Male feminist. Here we go.
I remember. Good God.
Can you read me some of the messages?
Okay, 110kg 돼지 아줌마는 장점이 보임. What good can you find in a 200-pound pig old woman? Korean women are spreading poison in the well. It doesn't say Korean woman, it's a slur for Korean woman. It's all just general misogyny. This one says that feminism starts with paranoia.
You haven't had to look very far, right? These are the first kind of few messages on this forum that we've come to.
He's wrong, though. It doesn't start with paranoia. It starts with hatred. So even the Korean MRAs aren't 100% yet.
Very anti-Korean women.
Yeah. And the most recent anti-Korean woman post was made.
So they're anti-feminist, and therefore they're anti-woman. I'm glad they admit that.
1 minute ago.
I'm sitting with Min-sung Kim. He's a big online gamer, and we're looking through some popular online message boards on his laptop. So this is a forum where people are supposed to be sharing tips about stocks and shares, and it's just flooded with anti-feminism and misogyny.
Fantastic. And you know why this is important? Take a look here at, just a minute, I'll just get up right. Spain needs a productive MRM desperately, because this is how they treat their men. Spanish courts accept false accusations against men.
In family cases with clashes, the Spanish courts accept false accusations if presented by women.
There you go. So they're completely biased, they're completely sexist, they're completely anti-male. They normally accept something false to get the men of their own citizenry, the male citizens, right? So they need what a Korean version of MRM here in Spain. Okay.
Yeah. And very, very anti-Korean women.
Specifically Korean women.
Yeah.
In their view, the
Well, that makes sense because it's the Korean women that are out to get them. It's betrayal. Korean men, they don't care so much about, Bulgarian women spitting on them. They live somewhere else. It's their own women, the one who's next to them in the train, that's betraying them.
Korean woman is the epitome of evil.
So these are the sites where people are orchestrating
Yes.
these feminist witch hunts.
No, see, they're getting it right here. They're seen as evil, right? Women's attack on men, guys, is evil. These male comic pros didn't do anything to deserve this. So it is evil. They've got it right.
Yes.
This is the story of how feminists in South Korea are being attacked by men who claim these women are actually man-haters, who deserve...
No, they don't claim it. They are. See, this is what the BBC does, right? Everything's put on, we got to delegitimize what these guys are saying.
to be punished. They carry out fierce online witch hunts against anyone they suspect of being a feminist and try to get these women fired from their jobs.
Again, thank you. They're using feminist tactics against them.
And as we'll hear, these online attacks have snowballed into actual violence. It's having a chilling effect on women here. They tell us it's no longer safe to admit you're a feminist. Do you think you're a feminist?
Because they might get fired. They're going to try and bullshit and say this is about violence, right? These guys are attacking women. They'll get debunked too.
Feminist? Would you call yourself a feminist?
스스로 그렇게 생각하시나요? No.
No.
Do you consider yourself a feminist?
Feminist요. 정확한 뜻이. She asked about the exact meaning of feminist.
Do you consider yourself a feminist?
아니요. No.
Do you know what a feminist is?
Not really.
Not really. Right, exactly. Feminism was introduced, but it takes hold because it is part of female nature, right?
Heard it, but I don't know exactly.
You see, this kind of hurts their narrative too, because these women, they've got the world by the balls. They have more rights than the men in their country, just like women do in every other country. So some women don't consider it.
For years, a gender war has been playing out in South Korea. Women here suffer from severe discrimination, misogyny, and sexual violence.
Lies, lies, lies. They suffer from none of that.
Korea has the largest gender pay gap in the developed world.
All she's saying is that the men work more than the women. Right, exactly. So these guys, the average Korean male is working way more than his female counterpart, and she's still attacking him. Disgusting.
And there's a serious problem with hidden camera abuse, where women are filmed using toilets and changing rooms, and the
I consider this a lie. They can prove it if they want to. I've never seen this proved.
footage is posted online. But as feminists have fought to improve women's rights, young men
Take away men's rights.
have pushed back. Why do these men have such a problem with feminists?
By their rhetoric, by their alternate reality, men are actually being systematically repressed. Men are actually the ones that are being systematically discriminated against.
Well, it's been proven here in Spain, isn't it? So it isn't their twisted worldview that this is reality. This is reality, right?
Feminists just want to take away men's rights.
At 22 years old, Min Sung describes himself as an ardent feminist. But not so long ago, he was one of these men.
Okay, he is a male feminist, and he's lying if he's trying to convince anyone that he was one of these guys. He was never one of these guys. This is like these trad cons that say why I left the left, right?
Me being thrown out onto the uncensored world of the internet at a very, very young age, like many other peers of mine,
This is an attack on men's freedom to peruse the internet, right? Little boys get these so-called toxic ideas of male freedom on the internet.
developed a very biased worldview because the internet tends to do that. So I happened to have fun in some of the internet forums when I was young, and that internet forum was anti-feminist and misogynistic.
Would
So you went to a forum when you were a kid, right? As if, right?
you go as far to say that you were misogynistic then?
Oh yeah. I didn't believe the gender pay gap existed. I believed that men were equally discriminated as women.
How old were you when you were first using these online forums?
Oh god, like 9?
Okay, this is a bold-faced lie. There's no way a 9 or 10-year-old went to these forums. No way.
10? We're exposed to the uncensored internet when we're unimaginably young. In hindsight, that's really bad, isn't it?
Did you dislike women?
I didn't necessarily dislike women, but I definitely disliked feminists.
Dude, if you're 9 years old, you had no use for girls. It's that simple.
So did you used to take part in these forums and these witch hunts?
Yeah, I was a lurker of some
Well, dude, why did you dislike feminists? Right?
sorts.
So what changed?
I went out and actually met people. Talked with people with different views.
So you started meeting and talking to women?
Yeah!
Touch grass, right? See, he was a little boy and he just didn't talk to women. His mother doesn't count. No, look at the propaganda on this. This is just disgusting.
Yes! Yes!
The witch hunts often target women who work in the gaming industry, like Tareem, an animator who draws artwork for video games. One evening after completing a project, Tareem started receiving hundreds of abusive messages on social media. Tareem isn't her real name, but as you'll soon understand, we're protecting her. Can you show me some of the abusive messages
Really, you're protecting her. Isn't she a proud feminist? Isn't she on the right side of history?
that you received?
뭐 잘 가라.
Some say goodbye, another says you must be pretty comfortable with your life because you've sabotaged your job. You're drinking poison, and if you keep drinking it, you will die. Others say your mum is
Goodbye. Some people just said, hey, I'm not dealing with this, with these scumbag hate movement members, right? You find out someone's a part of the KKK and you say, I'm not dealing with them. Oh, that's really damaging.
a cripple. And there are swear words I'd never heard before. I was so shocked.
So what was Tareem's supposed crime?
So they said, fuck you, you hate monger. Good for them.
Her animation studio had just finished a job for one of Korea's biggest gaming companies, Nexon. They'd created a new look for one of the characters in a popular game, Maple Story.
A new look. Did they make her ugly? Because that's what they usually do. They make these women homely so the guys don't appreciate it.
In this release of the new character, there was a trailer animation. And some people in another misogynistic forum were going through the animation frame by frame, literally frame by frame, to see if there was a panty shot.
Okay, so it's misogynistic to see a naked woman? Well, fuck you, you loser. You man hater. And notice, what was the reason they're doing this? They just want to see a woman's body. So they weren't even necessarily looking for what they're about to say,
A
right?
panty shot. An upskirt
This
animated
is
shot.
true. Unbelievably, this is true. And someone spots in one frame
a particular hand gesture.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So they weren't even looking for this hand gesture, right? So, but they noticed it.
To understand this next bit, hold your thumb and forefinger so they're not quite touching.
Small dick energy. That's what you're saying, right? So it was a fuck you to the guys buying the product.
So what you're showing me is the finger and the thumb came close together. And this is seen as a feminist symbol here in Korea, or a symbol that feminists use, which anti-feminists say is proof that they hate men because they are mocking them because they have small penises.
Yes, exactly. You are very...
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. All right. So they're making the case for these MRAs.
well versed in this.
This everyday movement, used countless times by men and women across the world, is known in South Korea as the finger-pinching gesture, and the gamers thought the character Dareem's studio had designed was making it.
At that point, the result has been already set. The conclusion is that an evil, dark feminist that is hiding in the animation studio has committed a terrorist...
Really? Well, according to the Whisper Network, these women exist. And that's exactly what they do. Everyone, this is a good video to watch, the Whisper Network, because everything that these guys claim is true.
act of putting a hate symbol in a commercial animation. So her life should be ruined and she should never set foot in the animation industry again.
Agreed. It shouldn't be. We don't allow the KKK in any kind of art. So we don't need the women like this, these evil people attacking men for shits and giggles.
And they just need to find the one who will fit in this electric feminist chair. So they looked for them.
This is when the witch hunt began.
I'm glad they're looking for them because they exist and they are working. It's a fact.
The gamers looked up all the women working at Dareem's animation studio.
Good for them.
Then trawled their social media accounts, searching for any mention of feminism.
Yes.
Until way back on Dareem's timeline.
That's just how it should be done.
They found a supportive tweet.
They find any trace of feminism. It's like a hunt, and they collect.
Western MRAs, take note.
Other evidence, so it snowballs. People started filing complaints to the Maple Story team. This person is a feminist, they said. They mobbed the team, and by midnight, the gaming company had posted an apology and removed the video.
Hooray! See, that's how it's done, right?
Then, one by one, all the promotion.
I want you to think of the civil rights movement, if it was going today. If all kinds of black and Jewish men got together and hunted down the KKK, the white nationalists, and said, we see them doing this and that in our products and getting them taken down. Everyone would be patting these guys in the back, right? And that's the attitude people should be having for these disgusting hate movement, the feminist here.
Videos we'd worked on for the company were removed from YouTube. My company and the CEO, we were all in a panic. There were so many complaints by people wanting me to be fired.
What makes this story even crazier is that Dareem actually had nothing to do with the design in question. It had been animated by somebody else.
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's like saying, I didn't lynch that guy. I just happened to be a KKK member, but I wasn't really there. I wasn't there during the cross burning. I mean, that may be true, but once you join up in a hate movement, you get what you deserve, right? Like this woman was like, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. I just donned my SSS outfit and I was hailing a cab, and then some black guy came up and punched me in the face. Right? You said that's the logic of this.
And signed off by the gaming company. But her studio was freaked out. and was now
Good.
considering firing her. This is where Min-sung comes into our story again. Having watched these witch hunts happen to too many women, he'd recently set up an organisation to try and help the victims.
We acted as fast as we could and we set up this meeting, and we decided that we should go to the studio together right now and talk with the decision makers, talk with the owner of the company. And on that faithful day, on that meeting, we successfully prevented her from getting fired.
How did you convince the company to ignore these witch hunters?
Yeah, to ignore the guys who buy your product. How do you get them to ignore them?
We said that these demands will never end, only escalate. You need to nip this in the bud. Or
They're using feminist tactics, right? Only they're working on the sides of the angels.
you will spend the rest of your life changing things that have no meaning. You will spend the rest of your career just serving the whims of these anonymous forum users who you don't even know the names of.
Well, you know something? Men have been saying that constantly, in their spaces. Yet, anything that guys enjoy, like gaming industries, they give in all the time to feminists. So why not let them suffer, right?
Because these witch hunts do work. There are cases where women have lost their jobs. And it's not just
Good.
happening in the gaming industry now. Last year, the international car company Renault suspended one of its Korean employees after men accused her of making this derogatory finger-pinching gesture while moving her hands in a promotional video.
That's great, because it's just like if black men saw someone giving the Heil Hitler salute. It's exact same thing. Okay, there's one difference. It's about gender instead of race. That's the only difference.
They're confident now that when you accuse someone of feminism, you can ruin their career.
Good. Western MRAs, are you taking notes? This is how it's done.
And this is so effective because gaming companies react to feminism issues unlike any other issues.
Why do these anti-feminists have so much power, seemingly, over the gaming companies?
Because they are the ones who buy the product. That is why.
Because the gaming companies think the anti-feminists are the largest source of their revenue.
They don't think it, they know it. See, this is the best that these BBC assholes can do to try and delegitimize this. Is use the words like think and feel.
That's it.
Oh, by the way, guys, before we're going to further, do you know what this is a perfect example of? Let's see if I can't find it here. Oh, here we are. Did you ever see this old episode of Star Trek, The Savage Curtain? The rock alien, he wants to understand good and evil. So he sets things up. He sets Kirk and the boys, who are the good ones, against the evil guys. And then he complains. He says, "What's going on here? You're using the same tactics. There's no difference between you two." Right? And what does Kirk say? He said, "What did you offer the bad guys?" He said, "I offered them power and wealth." He said, "What did you offer me?" "My ship." In other words, you threatened us. So you threatened us and offered them something. See? So it's all about the motivations. That's what separates these Korean MRAs from the feminists. They're using the same tactics, but they have a different reasonings, different motivations behind it.
We're driving out now to what you would call the Silicon Valley of South Korea. So it's where a lot of the tech companies and the gaming companies are based. And we're going to meet a woman who's worked in this industry for more than 20 years. And she wants to talk to us about what's happening now on the inside. But she's asked us not to reveal her identity. So I'm not going to give you her name.
That's good. I'm glad. Because what she's saying is these guys are effective. They're shutting us hate movement people down. And so now there's a chilling effect. I love it.
네, 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. Come in. I know it's a bit of a tight squeeze in the car.
These reactions we're seeing now feel so far removed from what we'd consider normal or common sense.
She tells me that the witch hunt.
Yeah, what normal and common sense is that men should be second-class citizens, right? Men should be the ones being hunted down. And now the world's upside down.
Against Dareem has had a chilling effect, not just on women, but on the industry too. After that case exploded,
how could there be a chilling effect against women? It's just against feminists, right? Women aren't feminist.
The company panicked. It didn't want to be the next target.
Even though our company hadn't been attacked, it started changing anything that even remotely resembled the finger-pinching gesture.
Oh, so it's not just that you're being told to make sure that these finger-pinching style hand gestures don't get put into the games. You've actually had to remove things?
Yes, and since they can't get rid of the hands completely, they usually tell the designer to alter it.
Well, that's good. Where's the harm in that? Right?
Might remove the thumb or even remove the fingers entirely and make a fist. And it's not just our company. This is happening across the entire gaming industry.
Oh, no. They've altered one hand. These guys had to deal. These guys who buy games had to deal with uglifying of women just to piss them off, just so they don't enjoy it, right? Stop the male gaze. Yet this woman is complaining about a finger alteration.
If something resembles that gesture, companies are changing it to avoid any issues.
Good.
That must be pretty heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking? Why? Why is it heartbreaking for her to have a symbol hand changed from that symbol to this? Why? Why is it heartbreaking?
To watch a game that you developed then be taken apart.
But they're not taking apart the game. They're not harming the game whatsoever.
Yeah. What's it like to work under this climate?
It's incredibly frustrating and exhausting, and some people have quit because...
Really? It's frustrating, exhausting? Just because they changed a hand gesture? How's exhausting for you?
Because of it. The idea that a hand gesture could be seen as an attack on men is absurd.
Yeah, right? Why do they get rid of all the middle fingers, though? So if you had a character that was giving middle fingers and they removed it, that would be an issue to you? Or how about, like, again, the Heil Hitler, right? How can the Heil Hitler gesture be an attack on Jewish men and black men and Hispanic men? Right? That's ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense. It should just be ignored, but instead the companies have chosen to change everything, which...
This is what men have to suffer, right? That's what men have to suffer. They're the ones who have to have their games wrecked. They say, how come that you don't ignore them, right? Especially since these feminist women don't buy the product. This is, again, how this is different, guys, right? This is how this is different. The feminists don't buy the product, and the men do.
Seems foolish to me.
Why do these gamers have so much influence over these huge companies?
There are game developers with very similar mindsets who are also anti-feminist.
Good, good.
They participate in the same online forums. I often end up working with people who think like this.
Good. So there are all kinds of Korean men who are anti-hate movement. Love it. They're way above us here in the Western world.
So for all those outside yelling that something is bad, there are those on the inside who believe it's bad too.
What's it going to take for these companies to start standing up to these anti-feminists?
Honestly, I don't have much faith the companies will regulate themselves. So long as people with anti-feminist beliefs are running these companies, it will be hard. Unless there are legal measures, they won't budge.
Why does... They removed an insulting gesture. So your big gripe is that you don't get to insult the people who buy your product. You scumfuck.
In South Korea, there is no blanket anti-discrimination law to protect women. It's been repeatedly blocked by politicians, largely because it would support gay and transgender people too.
Well, that is the problem, isn't it? Right? Men do things for the wrong reasons. But it's working in their favor, and I'm glad.
But anti-feminists have also seized on the bill and are lobbying against it.
Thank you. See, Western MRAs, this is how it is done.
There's even evidence these anti-feminist views are shared by those in authority. Let's go back to Doreen, the animator. She reported her abuse to police, which included death threats and rape threats.
Bullshit. Bullshit. We know that's a lie. We know that these people tell lies all the time. Why don't you go kill yourself or die in a fire isn't a death threat. That's the standard for that. And no one once accuses these. No one says, I want to rape you. No one. That's a lie.
But the police refused to take on her case. Their response shocked her lawyer, Bom Yu-kyung.
The statement starts like this. The current trend in Korea is that it is taboo to use index finger gesture in corporate advertising.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the middle finger, right? There would be advertisers say, no, we don't want something that's going to turn off people, right?
Police says that it was logical that the suspects abused her only because she is a feminist.
So they're saying that she brought this abuse upon herself.
Yeah. Hey, you got abused because you're part of the KKK. That'd be like the KKK member saying, hey, I mean, they claimed I brought it on myself. You know, I just want to burn crosses on people's lawns. I mean, come on.
Because she tweeted that she was a feminist.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you received?
Yeah, I'm a neo-Nazi, everyone. And just because I tweeted that, people got on my case. This is how you frame this. This is a hate movement. You say so, guys.
Received this statement.
Shame as a lawyer, because I have to explain that your case is meaningless to the police because you're feminist. Very, very hard for me to explain this nonsense.
Yeah, I'm a KKK member. I want to burn crosses on people's lawns, and the police, they're not interested in bolstering that. I don't understand.
I thought it made no sense. It was ridiculous that the police would say it was logical I was insulted for being a feminist. I was astonished.
Yeah, oh, come on, dude. Like when I Heil Hitler, people shouldn't get upset. Right? I just want to harm you because you're someone who's not me. I mean, come on, dudes.
Why would the authorities not protect me? I was so angry.
Darim pushed back with the support of feminist organisations, and the police relented. They're now investigating the men who attacked her online.
She decided.
They didn't attack her online. They spoke to her online. They told her, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, you white nationalist. That's what they said. So the police are taking their side?
To fight against the police. She is a very brave person. I think the most brave person that I have ever met.
I'm struck by your description of her as brave, the bravest person you've ever met.
He's the bravest person she ever met. Hey guys, the feminists are the good guys, just like Birth of a Nation, right?
If you want to say that you're a feminist in South Korea, you have to be very brave or kind of insane.
Yeah, like these guys, these KKK members were really brave in that movie, right? They're the heroes.
Especially you're a young woman.
In the time I've lived here in South Korea, I have been so shocked by how many women have told me adamantly that they're not feminists. And these are women that I know believe in equality. And so...
No, you don't know shit, dude, lady. They don't believe in equality. They're female.
I'm in one of the busiest going out neighbourhoods in Seoul where young people come. There's lots of flashing lights and clothes stores and games arcades. And I want to try and talk to young women to unpack some of this.
What's there to unpack? You Nazi propagandist? What's there to unpack? Your hate movement's getting pushback. It can be said in a single sentence.
I just want to know, do you consider yourself a feminist?
No. No.
페미니스트에 대해서 자세히 이야기해 줘.
I don't know exactly about what feminist is.
Do you consider yourself a feminist?
Know why she doesn't know? Because she doesn't need it. Because simply the fact is she has more rights than her male counterparts. That's what the wage gap is. It's an earnings gap. The men are beneath her. So there's no reason for her to make things even worse for men. Right? There's the range. There's no women on men's side. There is the feminists who hate men. Then there's the average woman like this who's happy that she's above men. That's it.
Feminist.
Actually, I don't think about like deeply, so I don't know where like how think about like feminist.
Yeah, women have no issues. That's why there is no such thing as women's issues other than, ovarian cancer. Other than medical issues that only affect women, there are no women issues. All women issues are attack on men.
I mean, because I'm Korean and also I just live in Korea, so usually I don't think that much about the feminists. 잘 모르겠어요. Yeah.
Is it easy to be a feminist in South Korea?
No. It's difficult. That's what she said.
그냥 페미니스트를?
So they just think like feminist is not just for the women and men's rights, but rather they think it's just people who just hate the men.
Well, they don't think it, they know it. They can see it. They can see it.
And I just have one question. What do you worry would happen if you were to say, I am a feminist?
그렇게 얘기를 하면은
I'm sometimes afraid and feel scary whenever I said, okay, I'm feminist. There might be kind of negative perspective from the men.
The men might treat you badly.
네.
Well, the men might shun you, The men might shun you when you find out that you're a KKK member, right? The black guys might say, hey, you're not my pal after all.
약간은 그런 것 같아요.
Yes, sometimes I feel scared with it. For example, when I watch YouTube and there are comments that, oh,
You should go die.
That's not a threat on someone's life. That's just saying you disgust me. So remember, these feminists are nothing but liars.
Just over a
Feminism is anti-truth because it is evil, period.
year ago, these violent threats spilled off the internet and onto the street.
Oh, no, this is where they're lying, right? They aren't violent threats. They're just saying you should just go die. You disgust me. Now they're going to put their propaganda, right? Going to claim that it makes real violence.
He opened the door aggressively, and when I first saw him, I thought he was drunk. He walked past me and started knocking stuff off the shelves.
It was late at night, and Chigu, as we're calling her, was alone in a convenience store where she worked. She asked the man who'd just entered her shop to be careful.
He exploded and started banging on the counter with his hand and throwing things at me. He said, "Hey, you're a feminist, right? You look like a feminist with your short hair." I realised this wasn't just a drunk man. He was different.
Yeah, he was different. Matter of fact, know what he was? Let's see. The guy that they're talking about was schizophrenic. This guy who's acting out. He assaulted this woman. He's stopped by the police who arrived on the scene. They said he'd been in a drunken state and was previously diagnosed and treated for schizophrenia. So this guy's mentally ill. Right? So this guy is not a member of the MRA, or MRM, I should say. He does not speak or act for the MRAs in Korea, but they're going to try and make it so.
I'd never met someone so aggressive.
Chigu tried to call the police, but the man grabbed her mobile phone and destroyed it by putting it in a microwave at the back of her shop.
He grabbed my arm and pushed me very hard against the shelves. Then he pushed me down to the ground and started punching my face and kicking my body so I wouldn't be able to get up.
Wow, so a black guy started beating up on a white nationalist once he found out you were a white nationalist. Funny about that.
I kept going in and out of consciousness, and at some point he picked me up and threw me. I thought I could die. I couldn't think or see straight. He started choking my neck using his knees and hit my head. He said, "I never hit women. I've never even hit my mum. But feminists need to get beaten."
Oh, thank you. Hey, BBC, thank you for making their arguments for them. This guy says he has nothing against women. He's fighting against feminists. So he's separated. It's like a black guy saying, "Look, I think you white guys are great. But you KKK members, I want to see you beaten." Right? So these propagandists don't even know how to do it right.
When you heard him saying things like, "You're a feminist, and because you're a feminist, you deserve to be attacked," what were you thinking?
Yeah. When you found out you were part of the KKK, I hate you and you deserve to be attacked. People agree with that. So this is the attitude you should have for these women who claim to be feminist, right?
I didn't think of myself as a feminist. I've always just preferred short hair and thought it looked good on me. But I was thinking, even if I were a feminist...
Short hair, yeah. Feminists have been cutting their hair short in solidarity to say, "Fuck you, man. We're out to get you. We've got short hair." So if these women could turn around and make an opposing group and say, "No, we are the women who love men and we cut our hair short." You could own short hair. But if essentially it's like guys who wear the swastika and you were saying, "Hey, I don't get it. I got this new swastika tattoo and people are getting upset with me. I don't get it." Right?
Feminist. Why do I need to get beaten? It just didn't make sense.
It makes sense if you understand that feminists are part of a hate movement. Then it makes perfect sense.
Chigu has been left with permanent injuries. Her left ear is down.
And here's another thing. They did end up getting this guy. Where is he? They end up saying, even though he's mentally ill, this is a misogynist attack, and we're going to throw him in jail anyway. They're going to make an example of him. Mental illness doesn't work for guys. You see, a woman wants to kill her baby, postpartum depression. She was mentally ill, temporarily, right? So she didn't commit a crime. But these guys who are schizophrenic, who hear voices in their heads, they know what they're doing. Right. And here's another thing. One of the guys showed me this. Oh yeah, thank you. Useless account. Thanks, man. I think you're ill-named useless because he mentioned this to me. This oh shit, where is it? Oh, I cut off. Oh my God, I'll be right back. This hammer attack, which was done by a young woman, right, in Japan. Now, this isn't Korea, this is Japan, but there's a totally different attitude when a woman goes berserk, right? Let me get to the important parts, right? This was a woman who attacked fellow classmates with a hammer. Several reports said the people were seen bleeding from the head and that the woman had said she had pent-up frustration at being ignored, right? Notice when women do this, she's just an individual, right? But when men do this, they're a part of a wider group. They're a part of men in general. And something has to be done, right?
Damaged, and she wears a hearing aid. She takes medication.
And this woman, again, in the hammer attack, what was her motivation? You're ignoring me. I'm not the center of stage. Whereas this guy's purpose was what? He was fighting against someone he thought was evil, right? Remember the old Star Trek, right? What you use the same methods. What's the difference? The difference is the motivation. Okay.
Patient for anxiety and hasn't been able to return to work.
Some days it's agony for me to stay alive. Just breathing is painful. The memory of that day is still so clear. I feel like I've become a completely different person. I don't smile as much anymore. After the attack, I was even scared taking taxis because most taxi drivers are men.
Yeah, you see what I'm talking about? Like, these people have been beaten in the head with a hammer by this woman. These guys don't become afraid of women, right? But this woman, she's afraid of men. And those stinking cab drivers are all driven by men. Hey, guys, I thought women wanted equality. How come they aren't 50-50 cab drivers? Right? Because it's a low status job that's only it's only worthy of the underclass. That's why.
Chigu's attacker has been sent to prison for 3 years, but the court decided he was mentally ill and gave him a lighter sentence.
Well, he is mentally ill. He's schizophrenic.
And so Chigu has come back to court. She wants the judges to recognise that this was a premeditated attack, that she was targeted for looking like a feminist, and her attacker knew what he was doing.
Okay, so what they're saying is, if a mentally ill man attacks, like a mentally ill black man attacks a white man, he's mentally ill. Oh, but we found out he hated the guy because he was a white nationalist. Now, sorry, black guy, you may be mentally ill, but we're going to put you in jail for a longer time because we want to put a message to you black guys. You don't touch the upper crust, right? That's how you guys should see this.
How are you feeling this morning ahead of today's hearing?
I'm a little nervous, but I think they're listening to me more than during the first trial, so I'm more hopeful.
Fuck you, you asshole. This mentally ill guy's already in prison. He's already being punished. Fuck you.
Lots of women have gathered outside the court to support Chigu.
My name is Jinsuk Park, and I am the head of the Women's Party in South Korea. This is a political party.
A hate movement. Again, women have zero issues. So anyone who's a part of something that supports women in this case is actually against men. That's what their actual purpose is.
And I'm here to support Chigu because being in the court is sometimes very hard itself for victims.
What is it about her case and this attack that has resonated with you and concerned you so much?
Well, the peasants are revolting. That's what concerns her.
She was beaten just because she looked like a feminist and she had a short hair. So it was not just about one victim. It was about a huge backlash toward the entire Korean feminist movement.
Yeah. See, they're admitting it. They're entirely against my hate movement, everyone. And this is important. We got to keep these niggers down.
So I thought if we didn't do anything about this case, a lot of other women, including feminist or non-feminist women, they will suffer so much more.
Do you feel that it's no longer safe for women?
Yeah, they're suffering so much more. They can't come up and just insult a guy to his face without repercussions. I mean, that's suffering.
Women to openly be feminists in this country? Is that where we've got to?
Women in South Korea right now don't have freedom of speech, also don't have freedom of thinking.
Bullshit. It's just that when you speak your mind, your hateful mind, men fight back. That's what it is. So you're not being censored. You might be told to shut up because you're an evil bitch, but you're not being censored. You can type whatever you like.
And now even younger women do not think about.
Hey, asshole. When Korean women type something on YouTube, does their comments disappear like it does for us guys? Oh, no, it doesn't. So you're not being censored.
Feminism, because they were highly threatened about what kind of belief they have.
I've spoken to women since this attack who have told me that they would be too afraid to cut their hair short.
You know, cutting hair was like a very daily life trivial decision, right?
Well, you feminist turned it into the Heil Hitler. So who's to blame?
Just wanted to have the freedom to decide how
You attack men, to signal to men that you're beneath me. Yeah. We want the freedom to come up and spit in other people's faces and give them the FU finger just for the fun of it. We deserve that freedom.
we look.
Hey, you're free to do it. And they're free to beat your ass.
But right now, we cannot even choose the length of our hair. And that's so weird. That's just nonsense, right?
It's so nonsensical that we can't insult people and get away with it.
It's Friday night in Gangnam, south of the river here in Seoul, and it's rush hour, so people are streaming out of the metro, super busy. And on one side of the busy main road here, a small group of women have gathered to highlight the issue of online sex crimes here. But where we're standing on the other side of the road, a man has just pulled up in a van with loudspeakers on top, and he's now standing on top.
Yeah, he's doing a proper protest against a hate movement. Hey, where's all the violence he's going to do? Let's hear it.
The man is called Incube, and he's from an extreme anti-feminist group, New Men Solidarity.
He's not from an extreme group. He's just from a group.
He's come to counter the women's gathering.
It's like saying, oh, he's from, where is it? An extreme civil rights movement. unlike the moderates, right?
The loudspeakers on top of his van have actually broken, so he is now just shouting from the roof. There are about 8, 10 young men who have come here to watch him. They're all filming and cheering along.
Good. Solidarity, that's how it works. Western MRM.
He's also live streaming his protest to more than 2,000 people.
Again, that's how it's done. Take notes.
Now, the reason we're here is that this man, Inkyu, has in the past called for his followers to confront feminists. And the man who attacked Chigu at her convenience store, he said he was part of his group. What did he say?
Say, okay, he'll come down.
Yeah, he's coming down? Okay, he's coming off the roof of his van. Hi. Last year, a woman was attacked at work by somebody who...
Sorry, guys, but the BBC, they're going to allow this guy to talk, and he's going to make his case, and they're stupid enough to allow you to hear it.
Said they were part of your group, and she was attacked because she looked like a feminist. Is that the sort of action that you wanted people to take?
남성연다고 회원이라 주장을 했는데 저희는 회원제가 아닙니다.
That psychopath claimed to be a part of our group, but he's not. We don't have members. We're a YouTube channel that people subscribe to. We've never encouraged anyone to use violence. In fact, the violent ones are the feminist groups.
Yes, thank you for saying it. He's right. The violent ones are the feminist groups. Hey, BBC, you're not making a very good case for your hate movement.
They're shaming men's genitals. They support signs and adverts that disparage our genitals.
Yeah, see? So these guys are being attacked by this hate movement, right? And that's what they're fighting against.
This man was following your group, following what you talk about. So do you take any responsibility?
Let me ask you. If a murderer watches BBC broadcasts and then commits a crime, will you hold yourself accountable?
Perfect comeback. Perfect rebuttal, right? These stupid hate mongers in the BBC aren't even smart enough not to let people hear that clip.
One of the reasons men like Inkyu feel discriminated against in South Korea.
They don't feel it. They are discriminated. See, that's the only thing these BBC assholes can do to delegitimize men's issues. Say, think and feel, right? It's all subjective, man.
Is because they have to do military service, whereas women don't.
So that's objective, not subjective. That is a fact. That is unfair, unjust as a fact. So when she says men feel that it's unjust, what she's trying to do is say this is subjective. And she's admitting that, hey, inequality is all right. Inequality for men is all right. She's admitting what feminists are.
Once they've done their time, they can feel entitled to a good job. And as women here have become more educated and jobs have become harder to get, these men feel their opportunities are being unfairly taken away.
They don't feel it, they know it. Because women don't have to do this. They don't have their time wasted. They get to step up on their career where the men are being held back. That's a fact. And sadly enough, a lot of the Korean MRMs or MRAs, they're doing this because of status, right? They're harming our status as opposed to just saying, hey, I shouldn't be insulted as a human being, you know. But what can I say? It's better than nothing.
I really wanted to talk to one of these witch hunters, but because they're anonymous, the only way to get hold of them is by posting on their online forums. We did this a couple of times, but they deleted our posts, and we didn't get a response.
Wow. So you hate mongers showed up at, like a Reddit for black men, and when they heard you were a white nationalist, they just banned you. Wow, what are the odds, right?
It's now been a couple of months since we met Chigu, the convenience store worker, in court as she appealed her case. We've just had the results of Chigu's sentencing, and the court has decided that this was a misogynistic crime.
The poor guy who's mentally ill, they've made an example of him. It's to say, all you MRAs there, the court system will eventually turn on you, just like Spain. But again, at least these guys are fighting the good fight. At least these Korean MRAs are fighting this hate movement. This hate movement and this hate movement are the same thing. And they're doing it right. So that's what you have to take away from this video. Thanks, guys.